Hello, I'm John Foxy, and welcome to the Fox 70. I am having a Disco Elysium adventure, and I'm going to check this car out, and I'm going to open this door. I hadn't finished the place. I'm going to peel off the cover of the passenger seat. That's what I'm going to do. Voila! A stack of neatly folded papers has been stashed behind the seating fabric. You see 3 maps depicting a large metropolitan area. It's Revachol. Some of its routes and highways have been outlined with a pen. Bon Pris, the lieutenant commends you as you shift through the treasure, well worn and folded into neat squares. Fold open the topmost map. The large map displays the elevated motorway called 881. The intake leading to Martinez is marked with a blue X. There's another X on the off-ramp at a place called the Old South. Toll booths at the intakes are marked with a circle. Looks like there are a scant few ways of getting into the elevated motorway that runs over Jamrock, and this person knows them all. There are hundreds of thousands of motor carriages roar on the 881, high above the mass of brown and red roofs. That is Jamrock. The commuters don't even look down. The world ceases to exist outside the windshield. Where does this road lead? To Curon, through the middle-income neighbourhoods there by the river, then to Stella Marie and La Delta for work, while the men and women of Jamrock scuttle to their fates below the road, up in the second map. The municipal map from the 30s displays a complex system of storm sewers underneath the sub-district of the Pox, Old Military Hospital, right adjacent to the 41st Precinct. No storm will ever drown Revachol, the great solution to the riddle of history. Wind hurps through the empty hallways of a once great military hospital, now just ruin under the overgrown park. Beneath the hospital, great sewer tunnels hum and vibrate with a life of their own. What's that sound? It's the rattle of motor carriages and lorries driving through the long-forgotten tunnels lit by gaslights. Look at the third map. The final map displays a labyrinth of service tunnels left over from the construction of motorway 881. Few routes have been marked with a pen, where the tunnels and sewers surface near the eminent domain and a traffic island in central Jamrock by the lake. These service tunnels were probably used during the construction of the foundation beneath the motorway. Despite the cold that figures move about cloaked in shadow, their breath escaping in white clouds that fade into darkness. Wherever you look, the night gives cover to her messengers. Where are they going? They travel from eminent domain to perdition, and on to the main. Over the river Esperance, on the route 881 to the Old South. The exit ramp is supposed to be shut down, but there's much activity. The road spreads like tentacles of a great octopus. Looks like the smugglers have infiltrated the road network belonging to the East Motor Tract. The smugglers have infiltrated the Motor Tract. So it would seem. The lieutenant examines the maps with furrowed brow. The RCM patrols most of these auxiliary roads, though apparently not all of them. Where does this contraband end up? Hard to say. The distribution network looks certainly large, yet still vague enough. It doesn't reveal much about the Besmarte behind it. Besmarte, so that sounds vaguely familiar. Besmarte is a Revacholian crime syndicate. They see themselves as inheritors of the 14 Revacholian Indo-tribes, but really they're just violent gangs vying for control of the west side of Revachol. With cool names, he adds with contempt, like La Puta Madre and Hadhara Mazda. It's a dark parody. Who do you think is behind this? It's definitely not the Union. They just do some logistics. This operation has spread everywhere in Jamrock. If that's this widespread, then Madre remains the most likely suspect. He's bad news. Kim removes his glasses and polishes them with a handkerchief. There have been attempts at a serious investigation before, but they haven't ended well for those involved. Lieutenant Kitsuragi is a brave man for saying Madre's name without the winces and whispers that usually accompany it. Especially bad news for cops who may have something in their past that they don't even know is there. Return the stack of papers under the seat. Lieutenant nods. Best not to disturb the scene. I'll have forensics go over the lorry and pick up these later. Stack of maps looks just like before, barely noticeable. The movie stars look silently by. The pull box and pull out and the pull out toolbox has a rubber handle, worn from years of use. Pull out the pull box. Toolbox. That's considerably louder than I thought it was going to be. The metallic drawer slides out from the seat. It's empty, except for a folded newspaper. Unfold the newspaper. It's an issue of the Peripherique. What? I'm not going to be able to pronounce that in a million years. Peripherique. From last Wednesday, a piece of paper falls out from its pages. Pick up the note. Looks like an article ripped out from the Radio Enthusiast magazine. Complex mathematical equations explain the basics of something called the Ulan frequency system. These formulas look oddly painful. Maybe it's the hangover, but they give you a headache. Lieutenant leans over your shoulder to examine the note. The Ulan frequency system? I've never heard of that before. I know of FM, AM, UKV, but his thought trails off. Push in the pull-out toolbox. I'll talk to the lady. Mention it quickly. She might know something about it. You know, the scientist, not the scientist, but the writer. Pull-out toolbox slides back into the rest. The rest into its nest. The rest is as it was. Posters, radio, yada. Great. I think we got everything. Word, detective. He steps away from the lorry. Before we return to Joyce.
All right, we've finished here. Let's quickly debrief and go over what we found, so we don't do it in front of the company rep.
Seems like something the police would do. What do you think of all this, Kim? Honestly, I'm quite worried by what we've seen so far. The evidence seems to point to a rather extensive and well-organised operation. I'm especially intrigued by that radio transmitter, particularly the sheer number of stations it can connect. Looks like this alleged drug cartel casts a wide net. This means it's well-funded. Technology like that, a major player must be financing it. I'm not sure what the Ulan frequencies are all about, but they may hold some significance. Perhaps it's a better way to connect between the fleets while avoiding frequency bleed. Maybe it's used to tap into RCM networks. Listening in on your calls between you and your station. A worrying prospect. Oh, and the maps we found, they reveal geographic extent of the operation. Looks like they've used abandoned tunnels and access roads to stay hidden. This is useful info. And last but not least, it's Ruby's cabin we found. This is undeniable connection to the Union. What about the movie posters? How do they factor all into this? As elegant as they were, I don't think they were relevant to the drug trade. Don't be fooled. Desire always plays a role. A lot of women there, especially for a lady driver's cabin. Yes, well, he doesn't say anymore. The Union really is neck deep with everything around here, isn't it? One way or another, they seem to be. Yeah, no, I was right. Logistically, if nothing else. But don't expect to bust this one open during our stay here. Best, it's an angle we can use against them to other ends. Extra ammunition. Meaning someone as slippery as Everett won't be caught by a couple of cops and some stuff they found in some cabin. Will the RCM open an investigation into this? We should return to the murder case, see what Joyce tells us about the lynching. When we're done for the day, I'll call my station and suggest our narcotics department look into it. There is more than enough ground to start an official investigation. Sometime later, when we're done here, we do not want to get caught up in... He stops to think. What are you thinking? The fact that one hasn't started yet gives me pause. An investigation, I mean. Especially if a Madre grouping is involved. And I can't imagine they aren't. It's certainly worrisome. Corruption? He nods. All the same, I don't like the idea of internal affairs descending on the matter. That won't help anyone either. Okay, so... Debriefing over. Debrief over, he nods after you. Not that way, John. Oh.
I saw you poking around in Lady Driver's lorry. She in trouble?
The racist told us where her cabin is. We only searched it. Still better than me, I guess. Told you there's plenty of others who tell on her. Leans in. But is she in trouble? There's going to be an investigation. It's not bad. He lets out a whistle. Looking at about 10 years older suddenly. Man, what should I do? What should I do to help her? The last thing we need is more civilians involved. Yeah, maybe I should just keep my head down and work on my rhymes while I can. What's the plan with those rhymes anyway? Oh, you know. The thought lightens him up. Tommy Lahome's going to be a musician. A Spregsgang, but with beats. I've got a lot of free time on the road to hone my craft. Correct grammar is Tommy Lahome. Why Tommy Lahome? Tommy Lahome was taken. He shrugs. in a what can you do manner. My real name is Jerry Lafitte. Tommy's way better. Right, I had another question actually. I've hunted across the planes of existence. Understood is theatrics and art are everywhere. Conceptualization is 7. Because of course it is. I've been trying to level it up. It is a white check. Wait, there's something here, stored away in some dusty corner. Starts like a mirror's temperature is always 0. There's ice in the veins. Its camera is an X-ray. Whoa, he leans in, his eyes bright with attention. What else? It is a chalice held out to you in a silent communion. Silent communion, that's good. Transfixed by the words. Where gaspingly you partake of a shifting identity, never your own. Dang, he grunts, unable to suppress his reaction. That's some great shit. You came up with that yourself? Or did you learn it in school? More importantly, who can prove it if you did? Go with it. You deserve some acclaim. I don't really know. No matter. Great verse is like that sometimes. Sometimes ephemeral. You might not look it, but it seems you have some literary chops. Maybe there's hope for me yet. It's a strange compliment. Just messing with you. It's cool. You're an okay guy for a cop. For a cop? They're more often into fists and rhymes. See? Let alone honesty in verse. No joke, man. Fuck, please. Lieutenant closes his eyes. The lieutenant closes his eyes, and lets slip a loud, long sigh. If you say so, officer. Gives you a cautious thumbs up. Okay, that's all for now. Alright, coming straight from the underground.
The Copper-nado is back. What do you want?
Guess what? I've connected you to the local drug trade. Like hell you have. He leans back unruffled. There is no local drug trade. This place is clean as a rifle. Go back to Jamrock and ask the local junkies how clean your streets are. Precinct 41 kilos. We'll do that. In the meantime, he points south. Did you know there's an abandoned lorry at the intersection that used to move raw ingredients for... What? Did you know that there's an abandoned lorry at the intersection that was used to move raw ingredients for drugs from Terminal B to Jamrock? We know Ruby was the driver. We know that's your affiliation with her. He taps on his notebook. Detective, do you want to deliver the coup de grace? No. Do the honour. You've earned it. Not at the lieutenant. Thank you. He did it. He did all the work. Turns to face the man. You're right, Titus. There is no local drug trade because it's all controlled by you. You're the drug trade. There's a mighty interesting theory. He rubs his jaw, smiling. I guess that's what you would need to do, theoretically. Big, strong, state-run monopoly would outcompete the runts on the streets. Yeah, man. Theoretically, that's what you'd do to get rid of the gangs, the dealers, even some of the junkies. You would need good, trustworthy people to take their place, of course. Hardy men to run such a monopoly, he grins. For the good of the community, of course. Yes, but that just sends everyone else to Jamrock, doesn't it? You've just diverted the flow to Jamrock. You've made it our problem. We haven't done anything, but theoretically, it has to be someone's problem, so it might as well be yours. He takes a sip of his beer and smiles. I don't know, the big man says, swirling his beer can. I guess theoretical things don't make me emotional. Now, I was sort of getting to my brewski on. What about this Ruby? She the 8th Hardy who runs this thing for you? Sure do love long walks through Theory Town, don't you? The big guy asks, straightening his cap. Well, I'm thirsty now. Thirsty for beer. Got any less theoretical questions, cop? He's practically saying a yes to everything you said. I'm going to take off now. forget it's so high. So high. Port back to... Okay. I'm going to do Avarat first. Am I? Drop the white envelope into the mailbox. Drop the white envelope into the darkness. Lands with a soft thud on what sounds like a couple of letters. About a week's worth of mail is collected in there. This will be emptied very soon. Probably did the right thing. You can't trust that slug Everett. You know he's going to play you somehow. Alright, let's go back to Everett. The lieutenant turns towards the industrial harbour. If we don't mention anything to him, you won't know before it's too late. I'm going to have to go back and forth regardless.
Hola, Wandering Man. How can I help?
Although, yeah, it's a bit annoying to come up here and not do the conceptualization. These are one-offs, so that's why I'm nervous about them. But how many more chances am I going to be able to get? Surely I'm not getting the entire level out of this after this level. Oh, you want to check out that room? Because it might have stuff in.
Mr. Dubois, every worker, member of the board. How can I help you today?
I'll do this afterwards. It's done. I mailed the signatures you asked me to mail. The golden boy returns once more. Wonderful. Simply wonderful, Harry. He claps his hands together like a child who's been offered cotton candy. Of course, I already knew this. My friend, the mailman... Okay. Confirms the letter is on its way. You've done a great thing today. You've given the children of Martinez a future and proven to be a true man of the left. I can finally trust you now. You're my inner circle. You too, Mr. Kitsuragi. He nods to the lieutenant, smiling broadly. We can talk about anything. The strike, the murder, your lost gun. Nothing is off the table. See, forging that signature really paid off. Well done, sir. By guile and deceit, you're in. You don't know his full plan. Perhaps he expected trickery. Perhaps the signatures weren't important. The point is, do not think you're ahead of him. Can I get my gun now? Harry, I've got to be honest with you, he turned solemn. Your gun was found 2 days ago. With holding this information weighed heavily on me, but it had to be done. Fine, where is it? The old woman has it. Let me tell you, Harry, the word on the street is, she's a character. And watch out. This must be the woman who bought the gun from Roy. The one who's described as terrifying. Of course she has it. God damn it. So the gun's still with the woman who bought it from Roy? Yes, the same one. I see you've done your research. The pawn shop made the gun easy to track. He smiles, shakes his head in wonderment. Crazy stuff, Harry. Selling a gun like that. Wild. Anyway. Union boys are going to help you fix it. He winks at you. Don't worry, Harry. Neighbours of the old woman contacted my men because they trust me and the Debardars Union. Apparently she was waving it around the entrance of her building. Moving the gun around doesn't sound good. None of this does. Who is this old woman? Unfortunately, I don't know anymore. You're going to have to go in blind, Harry. She's an old lady. How dangerous could she possibly be? Oh, and she calls herself the Pigs. There it is again. The Pigs, like Roy said. Not good at all. I, for one, find it refreshing somebody calls themselves a pig. Smile flickers in the corner of his mouth. She was waving it around at people? As I said, she's a character. I didn't have time for details, he smiles. It sounds like she's unstable, but don't worry. No one got hurt. Can you set up a meeting? Confront the pigs and get your gun back. I already have! He holds out his index finger. Tonight, starting at 2200, near the old fish market on the coast. The one on the boardwalk. A little past the fishing village. Be careful, Harry. I would never set you up for anything dangerous, but you did ask for this. Now, clasps his hands. Back to the fun stuff. She'll be there from 22 to 2 p.m. Okay, so we officially have to go to the next day. I wonder how you push time forwards if you've got nothing to do. More fun stuff. Looks to you. Seems like we already have fun stuff to do. Did you order the hanged man killed? Order it? You know my men didn't kill him. They told you. It was a happy accident. You know how it was. Nobody takes the initiative. If I wanted him dead, I would have had to do it myself, and I'm too fat for that. Why are you so fat? Glad you asked. I've got type 2 diabetes, because sugar and fat was all my mother had to give me and my brother Edgar when we were kids. He wags his finger at you. Good job, too, as it made me ugly. Ugly people, Harry, are much better at politics. That is true. People don't trust pretty people. Maybe. What do you gain from being dead? Him being dead. Why? A war, of course. And what do you have to gain from a war? Victory, Mr. Kitsuragi. I have victory to gain. We're going to start a war with the Wild Pines group and win, before they even realize there is a war. The trained military people, aren't you afraid for your men? Harry, we outnumber them 1,500 to 1, and that's just Martinez. All the unions in Revachol, and with public opinion on our side, we can hold off 2 men, or 15 men, or even 50 men. The more they send, the worse it's going to look for them. We made a huge mistake hiring those guys. No one likes foreign mercenaries. The leftists hate them, the fascists hate them, even the moralist thinks they're in bad taste. How is this connected to the strike? Harry, there is no strike, only war. Class war. Or, in business terms, a dawn raid. Or wait. He pauses to rub his chin. Is that when you still pay them something? Because we won't do that. We're not going to give nothing. We're going to take Terminal B away from them. The roads, the gates, the containers, that big crane, even the damn coffee maker. We're going to take all of it for the people and fuck Wild Pines. Word fuck rings like a gunshot from his mouth. Doesn't swear often. That's why you haven't let Joyce in. Yes. It's also why I let that midget Gormont go. He's too nice. I can't put him through this. Plus, he knows how to get in here. That woman can't tell her tits from her asshole. She has no chance. What? Tits from her asshole. It's a local saying. Actually, no, it's not. Why are you telling me your plans? Because we're friends, Harry. Besides, doesn't matter now. You can go tell her if you want. Won't change the course of events. We have a significant head start. He looks at the swordfish clock and nods. It's already happening. Who killed the hanged man? No idea. Could have been his own mother for all I know. If you ever find the guy, give him a big fat kiss from Everard Clare. Couldn't have done it without him. Really doesn't know. Guy, huh? How do you know it's a guy? I don't. I told you it could have been his own mother. Pretty sure it wasn't anyone from the Union. Maybe it was the mob? Maybe he killed himself because he was a closet socialist. Truth is, I simply don't know. He really doesn't know. How many of you guys are there in the Union? 2,372, he replies like a whip. Plus yours truly, of course. 2,373 is a sizable contingent for the Labour organisation in Revachol. How are you going to fund your new independent harbour? Oh, you mean what sort of goods are going to be flowing through? How am I going to replace all the contacts we'll lose once the poo-poo hits the fans? The clients will ditch us. Harry, we've thought of everything. Clients would take a well-known multinational conglomerate over a local mobster any day. Can't possibly hope to continue like you have. Clients will leave en masse. Sure, some will go, but mark my words, the company will be unpleasantly surprised to see how many of them stay loyal to Martinez and to the new competitive contracts we can offer. With renewed zeal sparked by communal ownership, the men will be shipping those containers double time. You'll be surprised to see how fast things go without parasites leeching on. I have our hands free to pursue bold, exotic new revenue streams. That's drugs. Drug trafficking. Drug trafficking? Don't be stupid, Mr. Kitsuragi. There are perfectly legal, 100% ethical chemical factories on the Samaran Asola. Don't need to be a colonialist about it. All they do is produce components to keep the pharmaceutical industry running. That's people's health we're talking about. Old grannies, little babies, people with disabilities. Digging it, Everett? I have to say I'm digging this part. That's the top of the iceberg though, isn't it? The company thinks transporting these chemicals in bulks looks bad. He makes air quotes. Has bad optics. Maybe illegal in some countries. The Debutars Union, however, were all about large volume column. We're going to transport the living daylights out of those materials, Harry. He slams his fist on the desk once more. So your sick kid can get his benefit, and your wacky uncle doesn't have to come off his respirazole. And the kids on the street can get speed and pioholidon. I'm an old-fashioned guy, Mr. Kitsuragi. I sometimes grab a beer with the boys, but I have no idea the things you just mentioned. About the things you just mentioned, he smiles. He smiles. He's still smiling. But if I were to supply ingredients for some sort of rainbow party, I would make sure the Union took a fantastic share, and I'd keep that stuff away from Martinez. Is Ruby helping you secure this fantastic share? Harry, if I was supplying raw materials of drug manufacturers, I would need an army of rubies. The Lieutenant nods. Slowly, understood. I have to admit, that's a well-put together plan, far removed from you. It's also, he smiles slyly. It's also far removed from my men and the people of Martinez who have put their trust in me. Anyway, let's not focus on the sensationalism of the drug trade. This hypothetical drug trade is all anyone ever seems to be interested in. It would only be a small part of the harbour's turnover, just like the harbour is a small part of Martinez. It would still be illegal. Let's look at the big picture. Martinez as a whole. There are little girls out there with dreams of making music. Young mothers who want to start businesses. Models who want to walk catwalks. And steel wielders who want to weld steel. Also steel welders who want to wield steel. I'm going to unite them all into one economic body. We're going to incorporate this place into Kingdom Come. Everybody's going to be in on the wealth, and everyone's going to pull their weight. It's very ambitious. I love what you're doing for the working man. Thank you, Harry. Thank you. Bows courteously in his chair. You have no idea how much it means to mean. Because in many ways, to me, that's a typo. You have no idea how much of it means to me. Because in many ways, you are that working man. You've already done so much work. Can I ask you about the specific union members? We're way past specific union members now. This is big time. His eyes are shining. We're talking about the future of Revachol here, Harry. You can bother Leonard with that. He points to the door. He loves to run his mouth on such matters. But I'm in big time mode, Harry. There's something different about him now. He's more vibrant, more alive in his big time mode. The signatures I got. I know you plan to force them out with construction noise. Harry! He shakes his head. By now, you should know that I would never do anything tricky like that. However, if the construction noise and limited street access makes some people consider moving, well, let's just say, there'll be freshly renovated buildings near the roundabout where those poor people can finally enjoy a significant uptick in quality of life. I'm talking real affordable workers' palaces. Proudly spreads his hands as if demonstrating the size of the palaces. They're very large. So the village is doomed, the lieutenant says grimly. You were there. You saw the place. A wasteland. There's nothing left. But mark my words, officers. He slams his fist on the table, causing some of the coffee to spill. We are going to reset it. Reset, he repeats. I have big plans for Martinez. They do not include humans living in those pig sheds on the coast. That land will be used for municipal buildings and commerce. What do you mean? Harry. Imagine a youth centre, supermarket, church complex, employing hundreds, no, thousands of people. The coast will be lit up with enterprise and life. All those ruins out there turned into low-income housing. Leans forwards. Harry, enough is enough. We're taking this district back. War was 50 years ago, for God's sake. It's time to move on. And life. Odd. I do like low-income housing. I don't know, it's really hard to know, isn't it? Like, because he is shady, but... I don't know what that means. And life. War was 50 years ago, for God's sake, it's time to move on. I'll try the middle one. I accept your salutes, Harry. Nods. All of it is true. I've got the centre, I've got room for the retail complex, and in 4 years, I'll get the church too. The wheels are turning, Harry. The wheels of progress. This post-war limbo, I won't stand for it. There are kids practically playing with their own feces out there. It cannot go on. Pain is true. You've seen kids do worse than that. But will there be a giant statue of the Clare brothers towering above it all? Joyce knew he was up to something. Wait, but will you erect a statue of yourself? I'm not a symbolist, Harry. I'm a realist. My statue will be Martinez rebuilt. 5-story building complexes. Workers on welfare and landowners in Ozone hating me. This will be my statue and yours. We're doing this together. I don't believe him, but if he's lying, he's a liar, right? But he is at least promising something I want. Does that make sense? Sounds like you've got this. You can rely on my vote. Oh, I do, Harry. I really do. Crosses his arms on his chest. I'm going to make the working man as rich as Joyce Messier. With that vote of yours. That's my job. Just like yours is to keep the peace. New flash of anger in him as he thinks of her. That's it for now. Great, Harry. Great. I think we've truly built a bridge between Martinez and Jamrock today. We've united the RCM and the Debodois Union. Suddenly there's a sadness in his tone. This, he points to you and himself, has been so great. I'm sorry we don't have more fun things to do together. But if you ever feel like bouncing something off me, my door is always open. I've just finished investigating the local drug trade. Ah yes, your side investigation, thank you. He adjusts his glasses. You've got some spirit, clearing up phony drug accusations alongside this murder. I'll talk to the mayor and see if I can get you the key to the city, Harry. Now let's talk real business. Refuses to discuss it further. It's probably just a small nuisance to him. Oh, we are genuinely close to another level up. I also sort of like the idea of going really dangerously high on one of them. Am I wearing my conceptualization clothing? I think I am. You'd think I'd learn, or at least sort them. It's going to be really hard to sort. Don't think I am. It's a t-shirt as well, isn't it? There we go, we've got a new mission as well. Apparently I've gotten that back as well. And shivers. So I've got things to do. I have no idea where that sleeping dog worker is. Right. Just want to make sure he's got nothing new
Hey,
today.
mister. I'm not going to bother you with a long greeting just like we talked about before. I know you're
Leo,
probably
you
a
seem to
busy,
know
busy
everyone
man,
around
but
here. I want to ask some
police
questions.
officer and all. And personally, I think the more people keeping the peace, the better.
Damn it. Mr. Everett doesn't really want me to talk to people about union guys. He thinks for a moment. But who did you want to talk about? Tell me about this Edgar guy you keep mentioning. Mr. Edgar is Mr. Everett's brother. He looks a bit younger, he does, but a very smart fellow. Very smart fellow indeed. He's away on some union business, not even in Revachol, they say. All kinds of places he visits. Him and his brother both do when they're on vacation. Right now it's Mr. Everett's turn to look after the union, but last year he spent a whole winter in South Safra, he chuckles. Left with the first autumn rains and didn't come back before the trees were green again. The little guy chuckles again. The trades must have been lucrative for the trip to be so long. Tell me about Mayana. He's a union man through and through. Good guy. It's full silence, hesitating. He's very calm, laid back, doesn't do much. Talks to Everett sometimes. Honestly, I don't know what he does for us, but it must be important because everybody likes him. Yes, they do. And I think that's what he does. He makes everyone feel a little bit better. Oil for the wheels, much needed in stressful times like these. Tell me about Measurehead. Oh, he's really something, the little man starts laughing. He doesn't talk to me usually, but when he does, I don't really understand much of what he's saying. He suddenly falls quiet. Actually, I don't think he would like me running my mouth about him that much. He once said he's a dragon to this mob fellow who came picking a fight with some union men. Huh. I think he's really believed Jean-Luc was a dragon because he ran right off. Another time he almost killed another guy, but I shouldn't talk about that. Tell me about the guy in the container. What do you mean, mister? He's rubbing his nape and looking at you with childlike innocence. You realise he might be just a figment of your imagination, right? Kim was there with me. The fancy guy in a suit, in that container over there. I don't know anyone like that, mister. Maybe he's one of Mr. Everett's fancy suits. He knows all kinds of fancy people, with suits, purdy carriages. Tell me about Titus. Oh, Titus was a longshoresman through and through. He was born on a boat, they say. Little man rubs his patch on his elbow. His veins are probably filled with salt water, I tell you. Nice, friendly sort of old Titus is. He's probably one of those rare specimens who was born when two drunk seamen stumble on top of each other on a deck amidst a storm so violent it flings whales around. Tell me about Everard. I best not. I mean, I could. I don't think Mr. Everard would like it very much. You better ask him yourself, mister. If anything, the ever-present smile on Lure's face gets even warmer. Tell me about Rene. The night guard. He was a peculiar fellow, headstrong and proud. We didn't really talk that much. Little guy looks you in the eye. He died recently. Something with his ticker. Let's talk about something else. Get off. Okay. Is it high enough yet? It's pretty high. Look how much money I've got right now. Just because I'm standing close to him. I'm really close to another level up. Yes! What's worse than throwing your money at something that's already failed? Okay, so I've got this idea for a board game. Go on. Brace yourself, it's a very high concept. I'm ready. It's a pen and paper game where people all over the world can play each other using radios. Nicking an idea that wasn't worth anything in the first place, trying to pass it off as your own. How very entrepreneurial. I love it. Hold on, have we met before? Maybe, I wouldn't really know. No, on second thought, it couldn't have been you. Your idea reminds me of a group of young men who came to me a long time ago, calling themselves Fortress Accident. The name should have been a red flag. They pitched me and a handful of other investors on the idea of a role-playing game that would, in their words, change the world. What happened? Well, at first everything was rosy. The ideas were solid, but they were lacking in... how do I put it? They lacked the will to get things done. As their financial situation became more desperate, their ideas devolved from realistic to absolute insanity. We lost all of our money. High art types never deliver. They're only good for peddling Welkins, whatever creeps they come up with. I guess the inordinate amount of time they poured into drawing mythical creatures did not generate a return on investment. Wait, where are they now? Nobody knows for sure. The place can't be pretty. Did you try and salvage the project somehow? Sadly, when we got there, it was too late. The concept had run out of steam. Only dust remained. What I want to tell you is this. It's a very bad idea. Dead in the water. You seem like a reasonable man, but that is not a reasonable plan. Okay, well, maybe I was wrong. We've all learned something today. Are you sure you don't want to give those little Wilkins a second go? Absolutely not. I've got bankruptcy sequence. Oh, I didn't know it was a choice. Alright. Okay, we'll do a new save. I didn't know it was a choice, so I might actually scum that for once. Okay, we've got to have this entire conversation again. So I won't scum the result, if that makes sense. Like if I fail, I fail. So I'm not going to do it now. And obviously we have to...
Oh, hey, mister. I'm not gonna bother you with a long greeting just like we talked about before. I know you're probably a busy man being an important police officer and all. And personally, I think the more people keeping the peace, the better.
Cool. I'm going to let you go. We'll try the guy in the suit again later. I'm going to level up my conceptualization again. Because that will make me feel better about loading my game. Oh yeah, I'm gonna let you go, aren't I? I've been John Proxy. You're now leaving the proximity in my Disco Elysium adventure, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.